Where's Garrett? Here it come from the west side.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on your time zone. You are watching Seeds for You by Sherry. And if we're meeting for the first time, I'm Sherry. Today we're going to be talking about the body modification industry. I recently published a video on invisible tattoos, and it prompted me to do more research on the topic, which actually proved to be quite informational, even to the extreme. Tattoos have been around for thousands of years. Some say before the pharaohs and even before the Bible. Now, I don't know about that part, but what I do know is that back then, tattoos were taboo because of their association with negative connotation, such as pagan worship, witchcraft, prostitution, motorcycle gangs, criminals, and even used as a form of identification to ID slaves. Now, while the Bible teaches against cutting of the flesh and putting marks on our body, the $2.3 billion industry has gained a lot of interest over the years. Some say that tattoos are finally getting their place, and they now see it as a lifestyle, which is no longer considered taboo. They see it more like an art form, a way of self-expression, and it gives them empowerment. Now, tattoos come in all forms, from one extreme to the other, and we're going to talk about it all right here today, beginning with 3 of the most modified men in the world. So be sure to stick around to the end of the video to learn more. Welcome back to my channel. And without further delay, let's get started by beginning with a gentleman by the name of Lucky Diamond Rich. Lucky Diamond Rich is actually a circus entertainer, and he is in the Guinness World Records because he is the most inked man in the world, and he got that title when he got a full body suit tattoo. Rich said that he could not be as happy as he is today in the world if he did not have those tattoos. Rich has spent well over 1,000 hours getting tattooed, getting layers and layers of ink, even covering up tattoos that he already had, resulted in 200% of ink coverage. The next young man that I would like to talk to you about is Ethan Bramble. Ethan Bramble is the most tattooed youth in the world. Ethan was invited for an interview on Studio 10 in 2019. He was actually 22 years old and 80% covered in ink at the time of the interview. Ethan has done everything to himself. Ethan has tattoos on his face. He has the stretched ears. He has the split tongue. And on his face, the symbols on his face are quite dark because he has an upside down cross, I believe right here. He has Baphomet on the side of his face, which is a demon lord. He has the number 13, which is symbolic, biblically symbolic of rebellion and lawlessness. He also has his eyes tattooed black. He enjoys that life in particular. He is not exactly excited by some of the stares that he sometimes gets and some of the comments that are sometimes made to him when he goes out to eat or just walking down the street or what have you. But at the same time, that is a life that he chose and would not change it for the world. He would actually do it over again if he had to make that decision now. They usually have no regrets. They are self-made minorities and they own it. Now, some have confessed that it's somewhat of a lonely life. The stares and being judged on sight, all of that kind of stuff kind of makes them feel like they're out of their element until they go places like tattoo conventions or something where they get around all of the people who see eye to eye about modifications. And then in that case, they feel that they're loved and they're welcome and they're at home, compared to the lifestyle that they experience on a day-to-day basis. They accept the stares, they accept the comments that are uttered to them when they go to the grocery store and walking down the street. They're up for it. They have made themselves a thick skin to be able to deal with that, because again, this is a life that they have chosen. So the body modification enthusiasts are often judged on sight as criminals, as thugs who look dirty and demonic. Let's talk about a few other men. One man, he actually attends every year the tattoo convention at Hell City. And when he was talking about his tattoos, and he's pretty up in age now, very covered, although he doesn't have a face and the eyes, but very covered. He said that when he dies, he would actually like to be stuffed to preserve his tattoos, because he just feels like that it is great artwork and it should not go to waste. Some are confessing that it is an addiction, but it is their drug of choice. Another man said that he wants to become the most inked man in the world because he would like to see how much ink the human body can hold. This is a process that is not FDA approved and is also illegal in prison. Now let's talk about the third gentleman that is heavily modified. His name is Lily Lou. He is one of the first 20 men in the world to have his eyes done. He is also a former tattoo artist of 15 years, and he is one of few in the world who will perform the surgery for the eye tattoo, which he feels is inappropriately named. He says that it's not a tattoo as we know it. It is an injection of ink in the eye. Now, when we talk about the three gentlemen, Lucky, Ethan, and Lily, they have much in common in terms of being extreme in their modifications. All three having their eyes done. All three having stretched ears, which that's called ear gauging, by the way. All three having tongue splits. But Lily Lou took it a step further. He has done a lot more. He has tattoos on the inside of his mouth. He has tattoos on his tongue, actually. And he has also cut his ring finger to about right here. He has a wife. I don't know whether or not Lily Lou has children, but he does have a beautiful wife, a beautiful young wife who actually has a bodysuit tattoo. And her tattoos are easier on the eyes. They're not dark, whereas Lily actually has darker tattoos. She talked about her experience of getting a body tattoo. So what I learned from her is that whenever you're getting a bodysuit tattoo, it's not a something that you can walk into the tattoo shop and say, hey, I would like to get a body tattoo, and then they take care of it on the spot that day. It's a lot that goes into it. Like, they have to sketch out your tattoo for you, see if you like it. That can take hours, 3 hours, maybe the minimum, depending on what it is that you're looking for. It could take longer. And then once you come to an agreement on that, then you can start the process. Now, whenever you're getting a bodysuit tattoo, it's not something that you can do in one session. You can go and get a portion done. Today, you have to come back another day. Next week, whatever your schedule is, you come back and you get another part done. You come back and you get another part done, and you keep doing that until completion. Some people who have a lot of modifications or tattoos, and you say to them, how many tattoos do you have? Some of them may become irritated because they've lost count, or after they've gotten so many, they actually feel like it is now just one tattoo and not many tattoos. It's just one tattoo. Some tattoos can take 36 hours, just to give you a general idea. And that a lot of people, some people go in and they say that they want a tattoo on their back, on their ribs. I understand that there are some areas that hurt more than others. The back and the ribs being one or two. And sometimes they go and they simply cannot endure the pain. So apparently the pain is pretty excruciating depending on where you're getting. And some people have actually walked out with incomplete tattoos. And I guess that probably is what generated tattoo artists now asking for deposits, so that all of their time and energy is not lost, especially if they've already done a sketch of a tattoo for you. And then also, it's not easy for them to get other clients to just walk in to have a tattoo done when they had time sketched out for you. So those are just some interesting things to know. Now, let's go back to Lily Lou. And let's talk about him for a minute, being the one of few to actually perform that procedure. Lily Lou said that he feels that it should be illegal to protect the youth and to protect the normal, quote unquote, people. He said that it is very dangerous, and he won't do it for any and everyone. He won't do it to young people. He won't do it to inexperienced tattoo collectors. Because he said this is a process that you should not just make a rash decision over. It's something that you should think about for a while, because the procedure is dangerous. You can actually make someone go blind in performing this procedure. So he said that it can cause decreased vision, it can cause complete blindness, it can cause inflammation of the eye, it can cause an infection of the eye from the ink. It can feel like you have something in your eye all the time, sensitivity to light, and then you can actually lose your eye. So he's not someone who follows trends. So therefore, just because it's trendy or you think it looks cool is not a reason for him to want to do that, because he doesn't follow. And then when you're talking about cost and you want to know how much a procedure like that costs, well, first of all, that would depend on the artist. But for him, he considers, he charges in the higher level cost. But he said that he doesn't charge for the tattooing itself. What he charges for is for the full process of it, the guiding you through the process and the making of the eyes, and his ability not to feed into the trend or major interest. So, he's not so thirsty to make money, from anybody who wants to have that done. Now, let's explain the procedure for that. It's when you take a syringe or a needle and you puncture the eye, and you insert the ink beneath the clear membrane of the eye that is in front of the sclera, or the white part of the eye. And then once you inject the ink in there, you insert the ink in there, then they can close the eye, kind of like make it blend around in the eye, and then they get the effect of the black eye or red eye or purple eye, whatever color they chose. Now, if you go too deep when you insert the needle, then you get a blowout. And a blowout means that the eyeball will start protruding out. Okay, so that is the risk that you are taking if you make the decision to do that. Now, a eye doctor also made a video on this, and of course, she explained all of the risks and the dangers that I just listed for you a moment ago. So anybody who is considering having an eye tattoo done, this is what you're up against. Now, some people know the risk involved, and they still choose to do it. They still want to do it. If I remember correctly, Lily said that when he made the decision to do it, he got one eye done first. And I guess he wanted to make sure that that went well before he had the other eye done. In case something had gone wrong, he would at least have one eye. So, not giving anybody any suggestions on that, but that's just something that he talked about. So that is one form of a modification, a body modification. Now let me explain to you about tongue splitting. Tongue splitting gives you that lizard-like fork look. Okay, Of course, there are dangers involved with that. You can damage your muscle, you can damage your nerves in your limb, and all of that. I'm going to tell you about the experience that one young lady had when she had hers done. She went and she had her tongue split. She did not have it sutured after it was split. And according to her, that is the worst thing to do. It is advised to have your tongue sutured when you have it split. Okay, she didn't have that done. And so when she went home, she said that the healing process is quite brutal. There's a lot of bleeding, so there's a lot of blood. She had to go through 3 towels to keep up. And then she would wash those 3 towels and use 3 new ones. And she had to keep rotating them out for the blood and the drool. She also said that the pain was excruciating, and if you don't have it sutured, your tongue, this is a reversible procedure, your tongue will begin to remerge. So what she had to do was to keep pulling her tongue apart several times throughout the day to make sure that it did not remerge. Going back to the eye tattooing, that is an irreversible process. So once you do that, it's a done deal. There's no going back. There's the point of no return. Once you do that, that's it. Now, the most you can do, if you wake up one Sunday morning and you say, you know what, oh my God, what have I done? I shouldn't have done this. I want my eyes back. The most you can do in that case would be to have the procedure done again with lighter ink, putting yourself at new risk all over again. Okay, so there we have talked about eye tattooing or sclera tattooing, and then we have talked about the tongue splitting. Ear gauging is what I mentioned earlier. That's stretching the ear. Okay, you've probably seen people with these big, huge holes in their ear that's big enough for a baby to put their fist and arm through. Okay, that's called ear gauging. Now, the dangers with that is that if it's done too quickly, you can tear the ear tissue. You're always at risk for infections, and that's not reversible either. Now, if you wake up one day and you decide that you shouldn't have done that and you want to change your mind about that, okay, it may shrink just a little bit. If you stop that process of stretching, it will shrink just a little bit, but it will never return to its original state. Okay, so that's another one. Now, the other one with other forms of modification are like subdermal implant. Now, the implants, I forgot to mention that Nathan has an implant in his left hand, and he had a spider inserted under his skin. So implants are something that you probably see with some people, and I think that Lucky and Lily both have implants. So some people get them on their arms. You may see it looks like they have balls or something, whatever shape they decided to put in their silicone or whatever. They decided to insert under their skin. Some people have devil horns. Some people have just raised things. They insert things under their skin. There are risks in all of these things, okay? But these are risks that they are all willing to take. There is one that I did forget, tooth filing. So tooth filing, some of you may have noticed something going on TikTok, I believe they said, about tooth filing. Now, the situation with that is that when you file your teeth down, you can destroy the enamel and also the tooth structure. Now, people who have this done as a body modification, they are doing it because they want to have the fanged look, pretty much like what vampires have. So you may have seen some, they have 2 teeth over here pointed and hanging kind of low that looks like a vampire. It can destroy your enamel and your tooth structure, and also lead to a lot of costly dental visits in the future. Now, will body modifications ever go away? I think not. And the reason why I think not is because you cannot kill the root. Okay? It's just too many people out there doing it. Too many people desiring it. It's becoming, it's gaining more and more interest over time, and so I just feel that it's not anything that's going to go away, and if so, certainly not anytime soon. Okay, so anyway, if you got something out of this video today, please like, share, and comment. Let me know that you were here. And then hit that subscribe button down there and the notification bell so that you can be notified anytime I post new content. So that's all I have for you today. Hope you enjoyed. And as always, I love you all. Thank you for watching and can't wait to see you here soon.